Alright, well, today we're out here doing a little bit of post-season scouting. Decided to come out. We're going to check on my tree stand. Might take it down, depending on how much light we have when we get to it. But we just found this deer trail right here. We're not really sure if there's any sheds around, but we're going to look. We're going to follow some of these deer runs back in. My stand's in there, 400 or 500 yards, not too far. But yeah, we're just trying to see what we got for deer sign out here this winter, and maybe pick up the tree stand, stuff like that, and maybe go over and talk about where I got my archery buck this past year. See where the deer have been traveling down this little spot right here. They can look down, they can see out all over here, and they can look in this field. And you got all this cover right here. There's a bunch of fallen trees and a bunch of pine trees right here. So they use this to travel back and forth from those big fields up there to these fields down here. Cover all the way around, they can see all over. Good spot right here, probably even travel right here during deer season. That's why it's good to come here in the winter. You can see where these deer are really using the trails, because there ain't a lot of mud right here, so in the fall you wouldn't even really see where they're walking through here. Well, right here is where I move my tree stand once I shot my archery buck. Over there, through here a little bit, we're going to go over there in a minute. It's only a couple hundred yards over there. I moved over here, and there's a little opening right here. There's an apple tree down over there, and there's a pinch point right here. This is different land, can't hunt this land. Over here is where we hunt, and right there's a good funnel. Everything kind of funnels right there. And I almost put my stand in there the day I moved it, and made the choice of moving it right here because I had a really good deer trail coming out of here, crossed over through here, and there was a lot of sign. And I made the choice of putting it right there. Next day, came to hunt it. Sure enough, real good sized doe just skirted that edge right there, right by that funnel, went right through there. So I should have just put my stand over there like I was originally gonna do. But it's alright. Next year I'll know. I want to have two stands out here next year instead of one, because I've been just moving a stand back and forth. I want to put one down over at my main spot where I've got my past two deer, 2017, 2018 deer with a bow over there. I want to have a stand over there, and I want to probably take this one and put it down over in that funnel. That way I have both spots covered, because they're both really good spots. A lot of deer out here. My archery buck this past season and my archery doe 2 seasons ago. My tree is right in there somewhere. The tree I got him at, the doe. And I've hunted here for 2 years now. And every single time I've hunted out of that stand right there, I've never not seen at least one deer while I'm hunting here. So it's a good spot. And I want to go over there a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about how I went about making the move on my archery buck. So right here is my tree that I usually put my stand in, and when I got my archery doe in here, she stood right in there somewhere. That's where I shot her. And this past season I was sitting here quite a bit, and I kept seeing these deer working through the woods over here. So I decided to come in the next day. It was the second day of bow. It was the first day of bow season when I seen all these deer coming through. I saw like 5 or 6 deer, and so the next day I brought my climber in. I came right in through here with my climber, went through here, went down in there, and went up a tree as far as I could get without making too much noise. Around that trail where I saw the deer the night before, and I just sat there. And sure enough, they did the same. They said they did the same thing. Buck came through, and I made a 30-yard shot on him, and that's how all that went down. This is a really good area, and I'll show you a little bit more what I'm talking about on Google Maps. In this Google Earth view of the spot, you can see where I had my tree stand at the black S towards the left, and the red lines are the main deer trails that came through. The trails split off, and one trail led by my hang-on stand, the black S, On the first day of the season, I had like 5 or 6 deer take the trail that was out of bow range and skirt the edge of some thick cover. So the next afternoon, I decided to go in with my climber to make it a little bit easier, and in hopes of getting in range of those deer that went through the night before. And I set up at the fork of the trail so I could shoot both trails. And the Blue S is approximately where I set up with the climber so I could shoot the both of the trails. And the second afternoon, I ended up shooting my archery buck around 4:15 in the afternoon. So had plenty of light left. I'm sure if I just sat there, I would have seen more deer. But just a good example of how you can use a climber to increase your odds of having success out in the woods.